Hello and welcome back to the channel. Let's get the obvious stuff out the way first. 2 videos in 1 week. Who the hell do I think I am? It's been a long time since there's been 2 videos in 1 week on this channel, but a lot of things came up that, we need to discuss. First and foremost, the PlayStation 5 is now out in the wild. As we all know, if you're able to get one and you're not still stuck at these screens here, for those of us that have actually been able to get a PlayStation 5 just due to just the absolute craziness of what Sony put us through last week, let's talk about Dissidia NT on the PlayStation 5. So we're gonna be talking about this thing right here and this. How well do they work together? Let's take a look. Now, there was a lot of great questions that were asked. We demoed it live, actually, me and Prophet. We both had PS5s and we took a look at it over the Twitch stream. I want to say that happened a few days ago, and there was a lot of questions that came through, right? So I wanted to put a video together to kind of compile all those questions, put it in one digestible format, and just make sure that the correct information is out there, because there's a lot of kind of floating around misinformation. So I'll do my best to kind of shore that up. All the frequent questions that we got in chat. But as always, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. That actually helps the channel a lot. I appreciate all the support. Definitely give me a shout on Twitch. Join the Discord if you're looking to hang out with other Dissidia NT people, or just kind of hang out with a chill group of individuals. And give me a shout on Twitter. Twitter is definitely the best way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions or just anything I didn't cover in the video, give me a shout on Twitter, and let's jump into it. Let's take a look at Dissidia NT on PlayStation 5. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Lord KO here. All right, we got a pretty fucking hype subject today. We're going to be talking about PlayStation 5 and Dissidia NT. Are they a match made in heaven? As you can see here, we did a lot of testing earlier this week when the PlayStation 5s came in, and we just pretty much ran Dissidia NT through its paces as far as performance and stuff like that goes. So we're going to go over some key bullet points here, different sections that probably are going to be of interest, a lot of questions that came up. So first thing we're going to take a look at is overall performance as far as like how the game actually runs. Is there frame drops, everything like that, stage loading, summon lag, all the hot button topics we're going to cover, don't worry. And then we're going to take a look at online performance, how the game performs online. We know that that's always been a huge Achilles heel of Dissidia NT, so we'll take quite a close look at that as well. And then we'll take a look at some common questions as far as like cross compatibility. Do I have to worry about if my friend's on PS4 and I'm on PS5, how the lobbies work, can I send them invites, all that good stuff. And then at the very end, we're going to rank all the versions, right? We're going to take a look at which ones I think are the best, because I've reviewed all of them. I did PC a while back, and then we also, obviously, we've been playing with the PS4 version since launch. So we'll take a look at all the versions and figure out which one is going to be the best going forward as far as future proofing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So overall performance, all right? So as everybody knows, the PS5 has some very, very good hardware and software architecture. It runs off a solid state drive, a custom one. It's incredibly fast, very fast load times. I will definitely say it wasn't quite as fast as I expected. I thought it would be a little snappier than that, and I'll touch on that here in a bit, because that kind of circles back a little bit later. As far as resolution, it does play at 4K. However, this is a 1080p game that's being upscaled to 4K. So if you look at it, I have a 4K monitor here. You can definitely tell that it's being upscaled. It's not native 4K or anything like that. Only certain games are getting that treatment. Very, very high level games, like flagship games. Definitely, unfortunately, not Dissidia NT. Pour one out. But it definitely is upscaled to 4K. It does look quite good. It looks very, very impressive. You can definitely tell that it's running at it looks to be a variable 60 frames per second. On PS4, it was at 30 frames per second, and it struggled immensely to hit that 30 frames per second. I think everybody can tell there was a lot of particle effects or projectiles on field, or Lord forbid you throw a starfall or two out on the field. That game was suffering. That PS4 was crying. Those fans have come on, it sound like a jet taking off. I think everybody's experienced that, you know what I mean? And it was just the PS4 Pro made it a little better, but a lot of people, when we did those offline tournaments, they would really push for like 6 PS4 Pros, because regular PS4 or PS4 Slims, they couldn't handle the game. Just to be quite honest with you, they really, really suffered with that game. It just really taxed the game quite heavily. So a lot of things like no summon lag. We tested all the huge offenders like Midgar. We did Midgar with Bahamut, which we all know is notoriously bad, would almost cripple the game, where the game would literally be running at like 1 FPS or just under 10 for sure in most cases. It went off without a hitch, as you can see here with the footage. It was just smooth, man. It was butter. It definitely didn't look like it dropped below 60 at any point. So that hardware is definitely, it is just a godsend for a game like this. That is there's a lot of stuff going on. The menus and effects, all that stuff. There's just a lot of stuff that's taxing the system, and the PS5 can handle this game like a breeze. When it comes to just performance, it is incredibly good. The load times are good. There's no summon lag. We did a number of summons. I tried every summon off screen, but no lag whatsoever. Midgar is completely fine. I actually, if you see here, we tested that meteor normally like towards the end of the match when there's been a few stocks erased, when it does the stage transition, that every stage has a transition. There were some really, really notoriously bad ones, right? Like Porta Decamana, really bad stage transition. Midgar, once that damn meteor was in the sky, it would literally try and animate that meteor. It would almost cripple the PS4, you know what I mean? Things like Alexandria with the city in the background and stuff like that, it would be trying to animate all that stuff while all these particles and stuff like that were going on. Long story short, the PS4 just couldn't handle it. Now in arcade, it wasn't as bad. Because the arcade ran off a custom like hardware for the PS4, like they got a license from Sony to do that, and part of the agreement was ultimately it would come to PS4, which it inevitably did. So they probably didn't witness it nearly as much as we did, like on home console. But these were all notorious things, you know. The player base at large always understood these are huge issues. You know, for a long time, Midgar was banned, or it was like an auto skip, because it really took away the competitive viability of that stage, and people felt like they were getting robbed. Like, oh my god, you know, this guy pops summon and all of a sudden I'm at 1 FPS, you know, I can't even hit this guy now. And that was viable, and, you know, and a lot of people we did ban Midgar in a lot of tournaments and stuff like that. Things like that, completely not a situation anymore, and that's really nice to see for a game like this. Now there was a little weird buggy issues, like I did Gauntlet and I did offline and stuff like that. As you can see here, it was kind of strange with some of the AI still taking a while for the models to load in. Now that kind of shows me that the game was kind of poorly optimized for PS4, probably. You know, there's probably some screws that weren't loosened somewhere. It does kind of feel sometimes like a copy paste job, like they just ripped this straight from arcade. And, you know, some of these, like, there's no reason that these models should be loading in slow on PS5. There's virtually no reason. So that just means that the actual software was not optimized at all whatsoever for PS4, now for PS5, which is a shame. You can see some slight visual increases. I did look at the thing that seems to stand out to me the most is the backgrounds. Definitely the visual fidelity of the backgrounds have increased greatly. Like I'll show here. We looked at some of the cities on Midgar, and I never noticed this stuff before. I know it doesn't look anywhere near this good on PS4. On PC, it's probably on par, if not better. But some of the up-close faces, because it is 1080p being upscaled to 4K, look a little, they kind of got hit kind of hard there. They look a little weird now. Some of them look okay, but some of them, like Sephiroth, just look like vanilla face. They just look weird now. So the clothing and all that kind of got definitely the better part of it. The backgrounds and the effects and the obstacles and everything that you'll see on stages, they all look great. But some of the faces zoomed in is a little strange now. They look unnatural, to say the least. So let's move on to online performance. All right, online performance is probably the thing that everybody was most interested in, and I definitely was for sure. Now let me kind of preface this by saying this: Sony's online architecture since the PS3, as everybody knows, the PS3 had free online play. That was like a huge selling point for it. And I'm not sure if this is a result of that, but their online architecture has never been anywhere near as robust as Xbox Live. And I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I have not owned an Xbox since Xbox 360, and that was only for Marvel 3. So it just has something that's always kind of carried over every generation. You know, PS3 to PS4. It's just the games always seem to run better on different platforms. PS4 is always the least stable one, or the least liked one. And I don't know if that's just an inherent issue with Sony. That's just me kind of spitballing there, but there's probably some truth to that, because most people definitely tend to play on a PC when it comes to really competitive games, because just PS4 games just don't always run great on online, honestly. I don't know if it's just the servers or what the hell it is. It's just not good. So we ran a casual lobby. Now, the people that were in this lobby, granted, are some people that we know, right? So we had Lockria, Klein, I believe they are in the South Florida, I want to say. We had Prophet, who's on California. Prophet was the other person that was testing this with me. He was on the PS5 as well, and some other random people, you know. So for the most part, it was pretty immaculate. It was pretty good, but again, these are known good connections. We did kind of mix it up. We had some people from other regions and stuff like that. I think we had like a mixed lobby of around 10 people that we were able to test with, and I really didn't see any issues. Now, this isn't going to fix people's connection. If you still got that satellite dial-up connection and you're trying to play Dissidia NT, we're still going to know. We're going to know if you're on Wi-Fi. It's not going to fix any of that. Extreme distances is not going to remedy any of those issues. Now, I will say that because the PS5s are kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting and handling a lot of the desync, I didn't really see too many situations with desync. As far as online performance, there was only 2 incidents, which I'll show here in a moment. Whoa, that was the first weird thing. That was fucking weird. Would you guys agree? Where I was like, whoa, what exactly just happened right there? And they were both with the same player, so it could have just been a me and him connection. Everybody else I was able to hit, and they were able to hit me fine. I didn't really see any like phantom rollback. No teleports at all. No teleports. And the thing that really sold me on this, and this could be in the online performance as well as the overall performance, was that glorious walk up slice and dice. We all know how that is, where you can just walk up and do slice and dice and it works, and you swear to God that you stepped up correctly. That didn't happen one time. Not one time was I able to get it to go off. Yeah, it doesn't work. That would have worked on PS4. That 100% would have worked on PS4. So that normally is, that is the seal of approval that I need in order for me to know that this is stable online. That was one of the first things we tested when we did like a localized offline tournament. Bro, walk up to me and do T to slice and dice. If I can step out of it, that means we're good. If I can't, then it's a little shaky still. But I tried it a number of times and it just didn't work. You know what I mean? It just, that generally is the proof of the pudding. So online looks pretty good for the most part. It's pretty stable. I probably give overall performance on it, I probably give like 8 or 9 out of 10. Online performance is like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Probably like 8 out of 10 is pretty good. But again, that's just my visual experience, right? This is 6 people still involved, so it could still potentially have some issues down the road. Again, this is not going to stabilize bad connections or anything like that. It just seems to kind of help lift the load with some of those desync issues, teleport issues, things like that. So let's talk about some cross compatibility. So one question that came up a lot, the most asked question that we had for sure was cross compatibility. Do I have to go to a specific lobby? Can people join me and stuff like that? A blanket statement for that is, as far as the Dissidia NT is concerned, it is running on a PS4. There are no separate special menus you need to go to. It's just things that is running off a PS4. It's like emulating it essentially. So it's all works the same, exactly the same. You can send me invites, I can set up lobbies, send you invites, I can jump in ranked. All of that stuff worked exactly as intended. Now things like voice chat, you know, I didn't really test the PSN voice chat functionality because Discord exists. You know, I don't really use that, but I would imagine that it would just work the same, right? Nothing's really different there. And let's close this out by taking a look at all the versions. So I'm gonna rank all the versions here. So number 1 at the top of the list. Now, this is up for debate. PC and PS5, as far as just raw performance, are probably tied right now. They both perform exactly the same for the most part. Now, the one thing that does edge it out is PC. It looks gorgeous, and all PC games look gorgeous, right? They're always going to edge out their console counterparts for the most part. That's just a universal rule when it comes to games. But sometimes, man, you'll be playing Dissidia NT, you'll just stop and just look. It looks that fucking good. It is just gorgeous. The fidelity is just off the charts. I never felt that with the PS5, and again, this is 1080p being upscaled to 4K, so that's probably why. You know, it's not running at a native high resolution, so that's why. But as far as performance, you know, if somebody said, "Hey, I got 6 PCs, do you want to run an NT tournament where I got 6 PS5s?" I would be comfortable with either of them. They're pretty much tied, but if you really get a stickler for PC, or you just like really nice graphics, PC is probably the way to go. And PS4 is way in dead last. I actually have a clip here to kind of demonstrate how that goes. This is how we feel about it.
Is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
Okay, and we'll close out there. I definitely totally didn't forget about the controller, guys. Let's act like that never happened. So the DualSense controller is actually pretty good for Dissidia NT. It's a little bigger in the hand. That was some feedback the Prophet had as far as the DualShock 4. So it takes a little acclimating to get used to it, just like any new controller. I would say it performs pretty good. Now, one thing I did notice is I have pretty chubby fingers, honestly, fat finger guys. I had some issues with getting the stick back into neutral. Sometimes I was getting dash attack as opposed to going back into neutral and doing like neutral brave or stuff like that. That was just kind of a me thing. As also with like paradigm shifts with lightning, I found myself kind of hitting it in multiple times, and that, again, it could just be a me thing that happens to me on DualShock 4, but it seemed extraordinarily prevalent when using the DualSense. But it feels really good. Of course, it doesn't have any of that fancy like haptic feedback or trigger usage or anything like that. It literally just performs like a regular controller. Dissidia NT just probably thinks it's a DualShock 4 as well, but it's very good. It's pretty good. I could see myself, I'll play in a scrimmage probably sometime this week, so hit my Twitter to see how it went. I'll try and update that, but I think that it'll be excellent. I don't think that there'll be any issues whatsoever with trying to use this controller for long periods of time. It felt pretty good. It actually felt a bit better as far as it's a much more premium controller than DualShock 4. So it felt better using it for a longer duration of time, you know, for those real sweaty sessions. So yeah, that's it on the controller, guys. As always, guys, please like, comment, subscribe. That really helps the channel more than you ever know. It helps kind of with the discovery of the video to get more people playing Dissidia NT. If you have any questions, definitely shout me out on Twitter. Hit me on Discord, hit me in the Dissidia Network. And there is going to be a 5th anniversary tournament coming up for Dissidia NT. So if you're watching this and you're interested in participating in it, definitely hit the links below. It's going to have all the information. We'd like to get a huge turnout for this. There's going to be some communication from our Japanese counterparts, and they are running their own tournament as well. So it's going to be a pretty big blowout. We look to have a lot of participation, but we want to keep the game alive, fresh, active, you know. Get your homies, get a team, join. I'm putting $100 pop bonus up myself. Shout out to Saren, Ken Greg, and Cherry for putting this together. They did all this themselves, and I was like, yo, just let me throw some money in. I want to play. So shout out to them for putting this together. And that's it for my impressions. If you have any other questions about PS5, or if you are playing the game on PS5, please let me know if your experience differs from the things I've described here. I'm definitely curious about that. But I'll talk to you guys later. Lord KO signing out. Peace.